This photograph was taken on the 11th of December 1981 in the Great Hall at Lancaster University during Japan's Tin Drum Tour. It was the final day of my first term at Lancaster and a bitterly cold evening, the kind that feels as though it's holding something back. At the time, I was a relatively new fan of Japan. I'd been introduced to the band only weeks earlier by my university friend Simon Hanley, who is sadly no longer with us, shortly after the release of Tin Drum. The album felt unlike anything else around then, controlled, deliberate, and slightly remote, and that quality carried through to their live performances. Photography in the Great Hall was strictly prohibited. I wasn't documenting concerts officially at that point, and there was a real risk of being spotted by security and ejected. Still, I was determined to come away with at least one usable photograph. My camera was an Olympus OM2N, small enough to conceal, paired with an 85mm f2 lens, fast enough for the low light and long enough to work from several rows back. I attended the concert with my school friend Neil Lambert, who was studying at Preston Polytechnic at the time. Neil helped with the necessary subterfuge by sneaking the lens into the venue, while I concealed the camera body down my trousers. A manoeuvre that relied heavily on the fact that early 1980s security was rather more relaxed than it is now. It worked, just. On this occasion I was shooting Ektachrome 160T tungsten, slide film balanced for artificial light. It was unforgiving stuff, very little latitude for error, but when it worked it rewarded you with rich, accurate colour under stage lighting. One reason I favoured the Olympus OM2N for concert photography was its metering system. Unlike most cameras of the time, it measured light reflected off the film itself during the exposure. That meant the camera could continue adjusting while the shutter was actually open. In practical terms, this allowed it to cope with rapidly changing light, exactly the conditions you get at concerts, where spotlights shift, flare or drop away without warning. The exposure could change within a fraction of a second, and the OM2 could respond to that in real time. It wasn't foolproof, but in situations like this, it gave me a much better chance of coming away with a usable frame than many other cameras available at the time. The photograph of David Sylvian was taken towards the end of the concert. By that point, I'd already seen most of the performance, so the risk felt manageable. If I was thrown out, so be it. What I like about this image is its stillness. Sylvian appears momentarily detached from the audience, caught in a pool of light as though the rest of the room has fallen away. The alignment didn't last long. The light shifted, the song moved on, and it was gone. This image, along with some of my other Lancaster University concert photographs, appears in the book When Rock Went to College. There's a link in the description if you'd like to see more. That's how this photograph came about.